Valorant has seen many individuals claim the ultimate prize, but each have followed a different path afterwards. Let's start with Sentinels. This Rob Moore-led team from the very get-go was considered hype due to bringing in highly recognizable names like Sinatra, the Overwatch Champions MVP, as well as the fact that they looked pretty solid during the early days of Valorant, where you would see them in the top 4 of NA circuit quite often. After winning Masters Reykjavik though, the org would stumble for 2 years before claiming another Masters title, and look quite formidable in the process throughout the whole year. Sentinels still being in the Valorant esports scene is a rare sight when comparing other teams who were competing in the 2021 season, as well as individuals too. One of which was Shahzam, who you can call Mr. Do-It-All. IGL, coach, flex player, and sometimes even having better duelist stats than the ones who mained the role on the same team. After winning Masters Reykjavik, his career as a player and presence in Valorant would go on a downward spiral. When Sentinels got into franchising, he was one of many names who would be left out, despite claims of him saying that Rob Moore promised him a spot in Tier 1. He would then find himself in the middle of drama with a YouTuber named WestJet, which led to more videos from others in a similar niche as him. The most famous though was someone who wasn't affiliated with any of these. Their name was Timmy Fortnite Battle Royale, who made a channel called Retake. Shahzam will go on to make a video debunking the lies stated in some of these videos. The same videos where you can tell that not the best research was done, and when it comes to potentially ruining someone's credibility, like Shahzam, could have been better. Shahzam would spend the rest of his Valorant career after 2022 in Tier 2 with G2, and would briefly step on the Tier 1 stage with MIBR when their players had visa issues. That match didn't go so well because of language barrier issues, as well as the fact that they were going against one of the best Americas team in Leviathan at that moment. He still went on to have ties with G2 as a content creator before December 2nd, 2024, where G2 announced a goodbye and thank you video towards Shahzam. Next we have Dapr, who mainly played the Sentinels role, but at times flexed on controller and initiator for the team. He was another player who was promised a seating in Tier 1, but plans changed so close to the start of partnerships. He would go on to bet on himself in Tier 2 with some success on teams, but could not get past the likes of the eventual tournament winners in the Guard and NA's #1 2024 team, TSM. The org that he was last on was Oxygen, but they disbanded. He's still looking for a team and opportunity to get back in the Tier 1 stage. Zeek is the third Sentinel member that we will focus on. Outside of being used for puns and play on words.
Damn, that's sick.
No, that's sick. It's like a regular pencil, but it's way bigger.
Whoa, that's sick.
No, that's sick.
Good one.
He will live up to his username, being an insane entry fragger, and at times flex on one of the other 3 roles too. During the dark days of Sentinel's losing streak, he was one of the bright sides of the team. However, he will spiral out of control during Sao Paulo's lock-in. People close to him will say that he's been battling demons for a while. After these manic episodes, he will reveal that his living conditions were not ideal. His environment actually led him to death's doorsteps. However, his life was saved. He will stay off his main Twitter/X account, which seems to be a good idea, seeing how he's in a better state of mind now. Thank God. Zombs was mainly the team's controller and once dubbed the most racist man alive for tweets targeting the Brazilian region. But in reality, you could just say that some of these were just tone-deaf trash talking or just banter. However, he would double down, which many Brazilian players may have taken as motivation to actually start playing more and shooting back all the way to a champion's victory. Later on, Zombs would announce that he would step down in 2022, but apparently he's so rich that this once player has become part owner of the organization that once paid him. There were times where he played other games like the finals, but nowadays you will see him dabble with luxury watches and crypto. Safe to say that we're not going to see him on the stage anymore. Man's clearly winning in life. Tenz will be the last player from this era of Sentinels that we'll mention. He was a big part of the team's success, and really, what can be said that hasn't been said already? The man was sporting tournament numbers and statistics that may never be seen again. He was the first player to reach Radiant in North America, the face of the sport, the game, and had a large following as a result. But first, a word from today's sponsors. where you can step into the world of MiniEmpire, Heroes Never Cry, an auto-battler gacha game where strategy meets adventure. Summon and roll legendary heroes from dozens of ancient civilizations, equip them with powerful skill builds, and conquer your way to glory. With nearly 100 unique heroes and endless combinations, every battle is a test of your strategy and creativity when customizing a team. Best believe victory is always in your hands when launching critical strikes and defending your empire, locking down enemies with precise controls, or using the game's auto-battler features. It's free to play, so join to build, battle, and become a legend. Download MiniEmpire Hero Never Cry today and start writing your own epic story. But let's get back to Tenz. He was the only one who stayed on the team and was able to claim another trophy in the process. He announced his retirement after a pretty solid 2024 season, thus making him the last of the original Reykjavik team that won in Tier 1. The story isn't over for all of these Sentinels players though. Some are still competing in Tier 2 and might even make a return on the Tier 1 stage as either a player, coach, or even an analyst. The future is unknown. The next team we will mention is Gambit. They would win Masters Berlin by beating Envy, aka Optic, before they were bought. After this amazing win in Berlin, they will continue to put up impressive numbers and placements in future events, as well as lose to eventual tournament winners Ascend during Champs 2021. We will mention their story too, but this section is all about Gambit, whose origins as an organization can be dated all the way back to 2013, with a start in League of Legends. However, in 2022, many of their esports divisions will be dropped due to conflict going on in Ukraine. Their Valorant team was no different and was forced to rebrand, and this name is a reference to winning Masters Berlin. But in the 2023 season, each of their members were picked apart and went on a different path. Defo was the team's duelist and at times carried them on certain maps like Icebox during Champs 2021 Grand Finals. He wasn't considered one of the stronger players on the team since his job was to dive onto site and die, while his teammates either traded him or used the space that he gave them. After this team disbanded, he would join a number of Tier 2 organizations. It's also interesting to know that he would be the only Gambit player not to play on a VCT partner team. Redgar, on the other hand, was highly praised during this time. He was the newest member who joined the team and kind of helped them get over the hump since they would fall short a couple of times before he replaced Sunset. Basically, he helped the team go from pretty good to nearly unbeatable. He was considered the vibes guy and the IGL for Gambit. He got opportunities to compete in Tier 1 from the likes of Team Liquid and Giant X. Both teams would fall short from their desired goals, which earned him an Orgless title. He will most likely enter Tier 2 if he wants the world to see him as still capable. Or maybe he could just wait out and see if any Tier 1 teams will pick him up in the middle of the 2025 season. Sheydos, on the other hand, was considered one of the heavy hitters for Gambit, which is impressive when you realize that he was their flex player. He will continue to light things up for Core despite having poor results. The fact that he's still in Tier 1 is a testament to his abilities and was truly one of the bright sides for Koi. However, when it comes to the most famous Gambit member, that honor would go to Natz, who was dubbed the King of Lurks and was one of the first players to show the world that lurking can win titles. His achievements will help grow his fan base, some of which were pro players themselves too. He is now considered the face of Team Liquid. Popularity, star power, and actually being skilled at the game has kept him on this team, which is kind of similar to Tenz's path, but to a slightly lesser extent. The difference though is that Tenz was able to bounce back and have an amazing year, something that Natz has yet to do. Maybe like Tenz, he might need to reinvent himself on a different role or the way he approaches the game. Regardless, Natz might be the most famous Gambit player, but Chronicle has the case of being the most successful one. He was also considered a heavy hitter for this team, as well as their flex player, while top fragging in the process too. He would join Fnatic after Gambit disbanded and was able to add more hardware to his collection. The only one that he's missing is Champs. Regardless, he's still the first individual to get 3 international titles. You can still find him fragging and helping Fnatic be a formidable force in EMEA. One of the reasons why Chronicle doesn't have a Champs title is Ascend, a team that got pushed to a 5-map series before they won Valorant's first ever Champions event. This team was actually able to stay together afterwards, but only briefly. This is due to a poor start in the 2022 season, which led to roster changes. And the struggles continued, where they failed to make a single international Masters or Champions event. Things got worse as they were not selected into Valorant's partnership league. They would go on to make some noise in the Tier 2 scene, but eventually announced that they would leave Tier 2 altogether. mainly because Riot decided to change how Ascension teams got promoted and how long they stayed. Despite this though, every member that won Champs 2021 would be given a chance to prove themselves at the Tier 1 stage. Bonecold was the first person to leave Ascend, and he was able to join Team Vitality. By the way, I just want to mention that Bonecold has to be one of the best usernames I had the pleasure to say when it comes to making Valorant videos. Regardless, his stint with the team was one of ups and downs. After 2 years with them, he would announce his retirement. He did try to ride the wave of new games, but those would fail to come close to Valorant's reach. He's still an avid spectator of the sport as he cheers on former teammates and players who he calls friends. Next we have Kiles. He was given an opportunity with Giants Gaming, however he wasn't able to do enough to stay on the team or in Tier 1. He's still grinding Tier 2 with the likes of KPI and Case in hopes of reaching the Tier 1 stage again. Zeek left in July 2022. I talk about him in my Fortnite video of players who were able to play both esports. His late addition to Ascend helped catapult them into greatness and win it all. After leaving Ascend in July of 2022, he would stay on Team Heretics for a while and eventually be picked up by GoNext Esports, where he will farm the Tier 2 competition. The last match that he played was with S2G Esports in a Red Bull Homeground qualifiers. He too most likely will be grinding the lower divisions of Valorant in hopes of getting back to the Tier 1 stage. Seeing how his bio reads, free agent Valorant player. Starxo is another Fortnite esports gamer who would find success in Valorant. Also, out of all the Ascend members who left, he has had the longest tenure on one team afterwards. It was with KDAW, but the overall team's performance was poor. This meant KDAW needed changes, which resulted in Starxo heading to Tier 2. He will also farm in this division, but Valorant is a team-based game and you need to win as one, which is something that still eludes him till this day. Out of all the former Ascend players, Cned has to be the most successful. He was the team's duelist who was so skilled that 100 Thieves made a new tactic when facing him on Breeze. You see Cned, you run away. Cned's dominance would continue in partnerships when he joined Na'Vi. With this team, they were able to place 3rd/4th when competing against every other team that was invited, an impressive feat nonetheless. Na'Vi would go on to be blindsided by EDG and their rising star Kong Kong, as well as get an unlucky group of death in Champs 2023. He would continue to look scary on FUT Esports during the 2024 season, where they were always seen as dark horses or even favorites to win within their region. His future with FUT Esports though is not looking good, seeing how FUT has been playing off-season games without him, while he competes for Turkey in Spike's Nations events. So this means not a single person who won Valorant's first championship will be competing in the 2025 season. Of course, this can change throughout the year. Out of the 15 title winners from 2021, only 3 are currently planned to be playing in the beginning of the 2025 season, while most have either retired, are grinding Tier 2, or currently in limbo. However, this number will grow during the 2022 season, where we saw the likes of second Masters Reykjavik winners, Optic. They were formerly known as Envy and were bought as a package deal. They had an amazing 2022 season that can only be rivaled by the likes of Fnatic's 2023 season. After having an impressive tournament, they would fail to make partnerships as an organization, therefore splitting up the team due to buyouts being high. Ye had a series of unfortunate events, where Cloud9 would drop him early into the 2023 season, and then DSG would look worse as a team once he joined. And we can't forget about Bleed, which turned out to be an organization that didn't pay its players on time. His situation is up in the air when heading into the 2025 season. He did play with Evil Geniuses in their offseason event, but his bio tells us that his future is really uncertain. On the other hand, Marved was picked up as a content creator for Sentinels, but this organization has a history of their 6-man playing on stage with the main unit. If you look through Sentinels' history, this is usually due to either poor performances of their original starting 5, or players just getting sick. FNS, Crashies, and Victor would join NRG and were seen as the spiritual successors to Optic. They would do well by beating teams in lock-in or at least come close to it. They had a decent placement in Tokyo, but crashed and burned when facing Billy, who grouped in Champs 2023. This caused a slight fracture in the team that led Finesse to taking a break while Marv rejoined NRG with the likes of Ethan and Demon 1. Unfortunately, this NRG team struggled, which I mentioned why in this video, which brought back the likes of FNS and Som to the team, where they also failed to make any international events. As far as we know, the likes of Victor, Marved, and Ye are currently out of Tier 1, while Finesse and Crashies are the only ones confirmed to be playing in the 2025 season. Next, we saw the likes of FunPLus Phoenix claim their first Masters event in Copenhagen. They broke many APAC and Paper X fans' heart in the process, but it was a well-deserved win nonetheless. They would go on to miss the second Masters Reykjavik tournament due to visa issues and eventually disband as an organization since they failed to be invited into partnerships. But this org lived up to its name and rise from the ashes to compete in the land of the East. During the 2024 season, FunPLus Phoenix at times looked like the better Chinese team when comparing EDG's results at Masters Madrid and Shanghai. However, this section is the focus on their EMEA team who won it all in 2022. They would be bought by the likes of Na'Vi and have an okay year as we discussed in Cned's part. Claiming a 3rd/4th place finish in lock-in is a tremendous achievement when you realize it was the first event where every single VCT partnership team competed in. They got grouped in Tokyo due to EDG and NRG just being better. They also had a rough draw in Champs that was clearly filled with talent that had won past events and could have realistically won Champs 2023 altogether. The only person who did not join Na'Vi initially was Ardiis, who was on NRG at this time. Originally, he was FPX's duelist, but on NRG you will see him on other roles and agents like Sage. He would rejoin the team in 2024 and remind fans why FunPLus Phoenix was able to get Copenhagen's ultimate prize. The greatest obstacle in their 2024 season though was Heretics, or maybe I should say the format, which was single elimination for some parts of regional play. They would face Team Heretics twice, which was an organization and group of individuals you could say was EMEA's best team for the year. Heading into the 2025 season though, only Shao and Angel remain on the team. Zyppen is on Gentlemates, Suygetsu is on Karmine Corp, and Ardiis is in Limbo. You can end this era of Valorant by mentioning Loud, the Champs 2022 winners. They were originally named Pacata e Amigos, and would eventually be bought by Loud and their owner. This Brazilian team had a mix of experience as well as flashy youth, which helped propel them into Valorant's history books. They will continue this fearsome legacy with the likes of Tuiz and Kawazine being added to the team. A team that would win the Americas regular season, finish second in lock-in, make it out of the group of death in 2023, and get their revenge on Fnatic as being one of only 2 teams that would beat them during that year. In 2024, they would add QCK as a replacement for Aspas, who joined Leviathan. Loud started red hot with their unique flash comp, but would fizzle out towards the end of the 2024 season. Some of it was due to visa issues, others was just that teams got kinda used to them. This led to the likes of Les and Saadhak leaving to EMEA for Team Vitality and Karmine Corp respectively. As I mentioned, Aspas did leave during the 2024 season with Leviathan, who originally got beat by Loud during kickoffs, but at the end of the year, Leviathan looked like the better team. He too is on the move with MIBR. Also for the 2024 year, they brought back Pacata as a replacement for QCK, where he would still play the controller role and Tuiz will move into the duelist one. Coming into the 2025 season, Loud would add DDZine and Vinny, as well as Luxo being signed too. After the 15 individuals who were able to win either a Masters or Champions title, only 11 are currently in the Tier 1 stage. But this most likely could increase in the future though. 2023, we only have 2 teams and 10 people to keep track of, one of which had the most impressive season so far, Fnatic. Only 2 teams during the 2023 season were able to beat them, Team Liquid in EMEA's playoffs, and Loud twice in Champs. This organization blazed through lock-in by not dropping a single map until they reached the grand finals, where Loud pushed them to a thrilling 5-map series. Then in Masters Tokyo, they only lost one singular map to Evil Geniuses, and lifted up one of the coolest looking trophies ever in my opinion. If it wasn't for Loud, Fnatic might have realistically been the first team to pull off a 3-peat, which would have cemented them in legendary status. In 2024, they looked like a solid EMEA team, but got surprise blitzed by a group of young guns in Karmine Corp and Heretics, so they weren't able to compete in Masters Madrid. However, after winning EMEA, they crashed and burned in Masters Shanghai, to the likes of Genji and Foot Esports. They were able to redeem themselves a bit by winning Split 2 of EMEA, as well as looking more competitive in Champs. As from the 2023 season, we only see 2 players unaccounted for, heading into 2025. Durka, who is now on Team Vitality, and Leo, who left towards the end of the 2024 season for health reasons, but is expected to return during 2025 for the team. For 2023, we will talk about evil geniuses who won champs of that year. Not a single player who won it is currently on this team. Max went to NRG and got benched halfway through the season, while Ethan completed his run with the same team and is expected to do so again in 2025. Max is now on Leviathan and reunited with Calm, who also played for the Blue Sea Serpents in 2024. Calm was pretty heavily memed for constantly lurking through the season, but hey, a third place finish at champs is nothing to ignore. Busio was also picked up for 100 Thieves, and fans saw a major difference in the team's morale and results as compared to the previous year. Lastly, we'll talk about Jagamo, who's personally my Grand Finals MVP of 2023. He was the last to leave this team and competed for them in the 2024 season, and was still able to show us flashes of his skills on the duelist role. He is now heading into the 2025 season with G2, who are looking like a seriously scary team. Out of the 10 title winners during the 2023 season, 10 played in the 2024 and 10 are expected to play in the 2025 season. Only 4 of them are on the same team that they won it with though. Now for the 2024 season. In Masters Madrid, we see Sentinels win another one, but with new faces. Zekin, Zelsis, and John QT are all expected to start the 2025 season together, while Sassy is taking a break from competitive play, and Tenz, as we mentioned before, has left Sentinels to focus more on his content creation. Master Shanghai was a major moment for Korean and APAC fans since it was the first time a team from that region won a Masters event. However, the likes of Meteor and Lakia would not be joining up with them in the 2025 season. Meteor went to T1 while Texture, Munchkin, and Charon stayed. Lakia is choosing to rest and do some consulting in the process too. Edward Gaming won Champs 2024 and are expected to keep this roster for the start of the 2025 season. That means out of the 15 winners, 12 are expected to play in the 2025 season, and 11 would be on the same team that they won with. It's real interesting how chaotic the life of an esports player can be, where winning doesn't always guarantee job security, or is enough to keep a player motivated to play for the same org or even within the same sport. Overall, players still have opportunities after their esports career is over. You can take a look at some of them here, some other evergreen content that I've made in the past. As always, stay safe, be a KDAW warrior, and I'll see you guys later.